Miss Pantlets, can you tell us about the scholarship opportunities currently being offered by the government of Montserrat?
Okay, I want to speak specifically to what we currently have open. We have the government of Montserrat offers a wide range of educational support opportunities, and these include full scholarships, partial scholarship, and bursary awards. Persons pursuing studies locally, regionally, or internationally, if that's their interest, they are free to apply for these scholarships. The scholarship application is now open, and so persons can apply online. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. If they want to do the graduate program or undergraduate studies, they can also apply. Even though right now we're focusing mainly for the full scholarship on undergraduate programs, if they're doing the graduate program, they can also apply maybe for the partial or the bursary grant to support them in completing those programs as well. So those are the opportunities that we are offering right now, and we are encouraging everyone to apply.
And is there a deadline? I think I heard a community diary notice.
Yes, our deadline is May 30th.
And that's exactly why we're here
At
tonight.
midnight
Yes,
on
at
May
midnight.
30th. That's it.
Okay,
It's
so
closed.
I hope our parents are listening and calling out to our students. And it could be anybody in the community. It's not just about MSS. And it's not just about the Montserrat Community College at this time. It's anybody on Montserrat who can apply.
Actually, it's very specific.
Specific, okay.
The government of Montserrat is offering this opportunity to Montserratians. So if you're a citizen of Montserrat, what do I mean? If you were born in Montserrat or if you are a permanent resident of Montserrat, then you would have the opportunity to apply. So that's where it begins, with the citizens of Montserrat.
Right.
So we would like every citizen of Montserrat to take up the opportunity that is being offered through the government.
Miss Allen, you wanted to say something?
No,
Not at this time. Oh, okay. Your eyes look like I wanted to say
No,
something.
I was just listening.
Okay, no problem, no
I'm
problem.
learning as well.
And I am as well. Mistress Pantlets, what are some of the priority areas then of study being encouraged this year?
Okay, this year we have several areas that we're covering. The government continues to prioritize areas that support workforce and national development. These include areas in education, healthcare, ICT, cybersecurity, engineering, finance, public administration, environmental management. And I am particularly happy that this year we're also catering for, under the professional area, we are catering for everyone. So even someone who wants to do a CPQ area, studies in maybe cookery or housekeeping, they can also apply for a scholarship. So every level of the citizenry can actually apply.
So
And that was very intentional, catering for every level of the citizenry.
Right. So a student who has completed their O-level program, where we used to call it O-levels, now we call it CSEC. You have your CSECs.
Yes.
You can get into some universities with that, so you can apply. The persons at the Montserrat Community College who have either diplomas or associate degrees, they can apply.
Yes.
And also someone who probably doesn't have maybe 5 CSECs, because if you're going to go into this CVQ area, you may be able to get in with probably less than the 5.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, exactly. So your job is to apply to the college or the university before you apply to us. So we want to know that you've been accepted into an accredited program. And because we require you to submit your letter of acceptance into that program as part of our application process. So once you've done that, you're showing us upfront that you have an interest in your studies. And once that happens, then we can move along, because we don't want it to be a case where we accept you for the application here on Montserrat, and then you apply to the university after and you're not
And you can't
accepted.
get in.
Yes.
So
So,
step
yes.
one, I would think, would be to think about what it is that you want to do for your future.
Exactly.
Step two, apply.
Yes.
In a sense, there's some other steps in between there, which is probably to get the requirements for entry. But um, let's not jump the gun. So let us move on to what I understand, and you'll tell me if I'm right, that presently your department is in the process of digitizing.
Yes, we have digitized
Okay.
the entire application process, and our purpose for doing it is we wanted to make this process more accessible to persons. We want to make it transparent as well and fair, because the technology is going to be doing a lot of the work, and we will just be coming by. These are the committee members who are responsible to just review and to double check on everything to ensure that it's accurate as we work with the technology. And so persons can, if they're querying, the data would be there and the data will speak for itself. Okay, so that helps to make the process very transparent and very accessible to anyone who wants to apply.
And a bit faster as well.
Definitely. Definitely, we have to mention that it helps with saving time.
Yeah, saving time. What supporting documents then should applicants prepare before starting their application?
Supporting documents.
Yes.
We're asking that you have proof of identification. I think the application requires at least 2. You have to also indicate your residency status, academic transcripts or certificates, which must be certified, acceptance letters, as I said earlier, from a recognized institution, accredited institution, and references where applicable, and any other supporting documentation outlined in the application guidelines. One of the questions that we keep getting is whether or not the guarantors can be a family member. I just want to clarify that your guarantor can be a family member who is able to stand the cost of the program. So they have to show that they're able to do that if they're going to sign for you. Because if in any way you're unable to repay later on, that guarantor would need to step up and to cover the offer, the loan that you're taking from government, okay? The references, however, the references, those cannot be family members. That you would have to get that from some senior person in the community, like your pastor, your headmistress, or some senior functionary. That person can do your references, but the guarantors, they can be family members.
We need to back up a bit.
Yes.
I understand the references, and I am sure those listening also understand. So those are persons who can say that they can vouch for your ability to
Yes.
succeed and so forth. So they should not be relatives.
Correct.
Those should be persons,
Yes.
outstanding persons in the community.
So it removes the bias.
Exactly.
Yes.
Who we can trust. And you need 2 of them.
Yes.
All right. Now, we are getting a scholarship, or the student is getting a scholarship, right? But you're saying something about payback. You need to explain that a little more
All
to
right.
those who are not following you.
So 15% of your tuition, and okay, so I need to now go back to explain. If you receive the full scholarship or the partial scholarship, we are going to, and it's over $40,000, then you're going to be bonded to the government
That's
of
important
Montserrat.
for them to know.
And 15% of your tuition you would have to repay over the bonded period. Okay? For those who are taking the bursary award, which is a much smaller support So it would not come up to $40,000. So it has to be over $40,000, and then we'll bond you. So if it's lower than that, if you just take a small amount, maybe to
Like
complete this
5,000?
semester, yes, then you would not be bonded, and you can just go with that. You wouldn't have to repay.
Okay. But it's a good thing because the money that's repaid goes back into the fund to help
Yes,
someone else. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
Right?
And so we want to encourage, because sometimes we all know, at least with me, and I'm not sure if Deirdre, that was your experience as well.
Yeah.
When we're ready to study, sometimes we do not have the cash ready to do it. And so we're able to utilize scholarship opportunities to help us to get through our studies. And then when we do that and we come back, we're in good paying jobs, we're able to contribute back to others who are then able to have that same opportunity to move forward with their scholarship.
But is there also an opportunity, and I don't know if you can answer that, for if I don't want to do the bond, I can actually just pay back the entire scholarship amount?
Well, I am not sure I would want to speak to that.
I don't.
Yes.
And we don't really want people to do that. What we want
Okay.
is for persons to
serve
take
their
the
community.
exactly.
Yes.
Take the scholarship. What do you think?
Yeah, and then contribute
Back to
the development of
development
Montserrat.
of Montserrat.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see where we can go from now. What advice then would you give to persons who may be applying for the first time? Any advice for them?
Okay.
Any of you?
Well, I'll have her go first.
You have. I applied for this since maybe 2011, 2012. So I think that a lot would have changed during the process. But one of the major things is to research. You definitely need to research. And you cannot apply for a scholarship without applying for a school, because they're not just going to give you your money without showing what you're going to use it for. We're not just going to take your word for it that you're going to be going to school. So you definitely have to look up your schools that you're interested in. And it's important to have more than one school that you're going to apply for. I mean, you don't actually have to have your acceptance letter yet, because there's a grace period where you would then bring in your approval letters, your acceptance letters. But you need to be able to show that you have applied to a school. This is your intention. This is the program that you're going to. This is the cost that's associated with it.
Okay. So let me see if I could put things in perspective. Right now, wherever you are, you should be thinking about what it is that you want to do for further education. Because
More
this
or
is
less,
about
yes.
tertiary education, right?
Definitely. We're
And
encouraging
everybody
yes.
to think like that.
Yes. No matter how young or old, as
Exactly.
long as you're eligible, you need to be thinking
about that. And
Yes.
the government of Montserrat, the Ministry of Education, we're pushing lifelong learning.
Yes.
Right. So this is one possible avenue, and I suppose later in the discussion we'll talk about other avenues other than the government of Montserrat scholarships. Right? So you know what you want to do. You do the research, which is where can I get this
Which
training?
schools, yes.
Yeah, with schools.
Where is it going to be? Are you doing it in person? Are you doing it online? How long the program is? What's the details of the program? Because you might have two schools that would have the same subjects being offered, the same course being offered, but the makeup of it is different. So you'd have to look and see, not because, okay, I will use environment because that's my area.
That's your area.
Not because a course says environmental management means that it's standard straight across the board. So for example, when I was doing my master's, I wanted to do international development, but there was one course that focused heavily on sustainability. There was one that looked directly at climate change, and the one that I ultimately chose blended the two together.
Okay.
So you have to know what it is that you want to do and be able to look at the course, say whether this is something that you want to be committed to, because an undergraduate program is 2 years. So you need to look at what is all of the different components. And when you go on the school's websites, they almost always have a breakdown of what this course is. Some of them, they just tend to have the course name, but a lot of them, once you click on that, you're able to go in and they will show you exactly what the course entails, what it's about, the assignments that are required, the amount of hours that you would have to put in. How do you qualify for the course? Because some of them would have prerequisite courses that you would have to do. So you'd have to now pay attention to the details of it and then decide, is this what I really want to commit to?
Yes, and if it's too much for you, find a person or mentor who can advise you on
Definitely.
what you should do to get ready. And that's some of the things that the Munster Secondary School did, or is doing. Like today, my host is not here tonight because she had an all day where the Munster Secondary School students were looking at careers, right?
That's amazing.
We do our bit, but parents and other relatives and friends of our students, and even not necessarily, as you said, it's for all Munsterations. If you don't know, communicate with somebody, speak to someone who can help you to research, and Deidre, also what where you want to go to study, because you might be able to study in America, study in the UK, study in the Caribbean, like Antigua, or study online. So all of those factors are important to have in your mind as
And
things.
one of the things that we're actually encouraging also, I mean, we can't tell people where to study, but we're encouraging persons to, first of all, look within the Caribbean region. If your program is accredited, you know it's being offered in the Caribbean region, why not select that first? And you would find that whatever is given to you goes a longer way. You know, you're able to stretch it more in the Caribbean. And if you're using that same EC dollar in England or in America, in the
America,
UK, or
or even Guyana.
or even so that's still cheaper, maybe cheapest.
Jamaica,
Jamaica,
Trinidad,
Guyana, Trinidad,
Antigua,
So we're saying
Barbados.
look within the region. There are very good programs, medical programs in Grenada, Guyana, Trinidad, Jamaica. Why not look within the region first? And if you do not find what you're looking for, it's not your heart's desire really not to, then, but we're encouraging you to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Question: what are some of the common mistakes applicants should avoid during application process?
Some of the common mistakes is one of the things that I realize some persons do. They wait until the last minute and then they try to rush their application. And so they don't take the time to ensure that everything is properly done. Now, remember, this is a competitive process. The application is competitive. Not everyone who applies will get through. So you want to ensure that your application is the best application. You have the best essay, you have everything else in place that should be there. And so one of the challenges, we have incomplete application, uploading incorrect or unclear documents, or you need to ensure that you're submitting the right documents to the right portal. Now that you're doing it online, you want to ensure, sometimes you have missing documents. So you're hurrying to go through and you don't even upload it. Missing deadlines, of course, and that can happen. So somebody who is not taking their time can rush, and then the 30 at 12 o'clock, 11:59 actually rolls around, and everything is shut, and they're still trying to submit. That will not happen. So, and also, they may fail to carefully review the eligibility requirements for applying. So, those are some common mistakes that are made. Do you have any?
I think those are also standard for even applying to the university. Yeah.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you're not waiting until the last minute, because sometimes as well, depending on the university, they give you a long essay that you would have to fill out. And you really have to think about what it is that you're going to put in them. And they're not always simple that you could just write it out in 10 minutes. From my experience with applications to universities, you would have to start maybe it's weeks in advance. You would read this, you'd write a first draft, you would have somebody else look it over. You go back, you look it over yourself as well. And you maybe go through this maybe 2 or 3 times before you actually have what you would consider suitable to submit. And what you consider suitable to submit may not be the right thing always. So it's very advisable to get somebody to look over your documents for you, look over your
Certainly.
answers, because I mean it's hard to mark yourself sometimes, and fishermen never say fish stink. So it's not always easy for you to spot what the errors are in your
Yes.
writing.
True.
So once you get somebody to look over your applications as well, sometimes it goes a long way, depending on who you ask, because
Yeah.
that would be important in the review that you get back.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But I'm hearing something else. I'm actually hearing 2 deadlines. There's a deadline for the scholarship application, and there's a deadline for the
university
applying for the
application.
university. So
Yes.
you have to think ahead and plan ahead.
Plan properly.
Exactly.
Because
that-
in Montserrat context as well, you don't want that you're there maybe the same day of the deadline, and you're there at the 11th hour, as some people would say, and then current go.
Oh, yes.
And you're
That's
sitting down
serious.
waiting and praying and hoping that the current come
No,
back,
that's-
and
that's
it
terrible.
doesn't. So you want to make sure that before the deadline, you
Mm-hmm.
have done all that you are supposed to do, and you can be comfortable and not sweating at deadline time.
And I notice now that everything is uploaded. We don't print our things
Exactly.
or
We're
write
going
our things
paperless. Yeah.
and bring them in again.
Okay.
Right?
That's right.
Everything is
That's
sent
right.
as a file.
That's why you have to. That's why you have to have your documents certified before you upload them.
That's
Right?
important
They
too,
must be certified, so that when we begin to check, actually we have begun checking those that have already come in. We're checking through to ensure the documents are there and so on. And that the system is working so efficiently, it would send you an email to let you know that something is missing or you've submitted successfully, etc.
So if something is if I applied and I for the scholarship and I left out a document and I got that
Once we check, we will be able to signal to the system,
applicant,
yes,
yeah.
that something is missing,
And
and
then
an email comes directly to you to say this
and
is
I get
missing.
a chance to add it in.
Yeah,
if I'm
before
on
the
time.
30th.
If I'm on time.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
that sounds good. We have been speaking about undergraduate studies and scholarships. And for those who are listening, that's tertiary education.
Correct.
So you have primary education, actually you have early childhood or nursery and daycare, then you have the primary.
Yeah.
And then you have secondary, primary meaning first and secondary meaning second. And then tertiary means after
secondary.
secondary.
Yes.
And on Montserrat, primary and secondary education is fees free, which is why the government of Montserrat subsidized the lunch, they subsidize the bus, they give free books, because we are trying to ensure that every child gets an opportunity to succeed, at least up to primary. Well, we can't even say at least now, because we have scholarships that we're offering for tertiary education.
That's right.
So MCC is one. But Miss Deidre, what other opportunities are available for Montserrat students who wish to pursue tertiary education?
There's actually quite a few opportunities that are around, and there's in my research I found at least 4 that are associated with Montserrat but are not directly through the human and resource training,
okay.
as Ms. Pantlitz would be talking about. So there's the Montserrat Island Scholarship. This one was a newer scholarship that the Ministry of Education, I think, spearheads.
Okay.
This one is only for one person. So
Okay.
only one person would get this scholarship, and it goes up to about $80,000.
Okay. And that's
It would
easy
cover
dollars.
yes,
Okay.
easy dollars. This scholarship would cover the entire period of your study, granted that it would be 3 years.
So hold on, that's 80,000 per year,
Yes.
and not 80,000 over the 3 years.
80,000 per year.
Okay.
And we've talked about scholarships, but we haven't actually said the different types that there are. So you could have a full scholarship,
Sure.
which you would get books, travel, tuition, accommodation, your living expenses included. And by travel, I mean your airfare to your university if you have to go on campus. And there's part or partial scholarships where some people may only cover your living expenses, or some may only cover your tuition, and then you're responsible now for finding your living expenses. Your living expenses are obviously the money that would cover where you live, the money that would cover your transport to get from where you live to your class, your meals on a daily basis, and everything else that you might need in between. So, for example, if you're in the UK and you need winter clothes, if you need your books, your any subscriptions that you might have or anything like that, your living expenses, whatever it is that you need to keep you going while you're at school. Some people would not give that as part of a scholarship. You may be responsible for finding your own funds for that.
But that's a good point to let people know, because if you're going to get that kind of scholarship, it might be wise to try to get it in a place where you have family, so you could live with them.
That's an option as
Yeah,
well.
live with them. So then you just have to worry about paying the university their fees and buying your books, which is what the partial scholarship does.
Exactly. So, and that applies to our scholarship as well. So if you
Yes.
do the full scholarship, it covers all of that,
Yes.
everything. The partial will do your tuition and maybe your housing, and then you cover your other living expenses.
Yeah.
Right. So back to what I found. There's the Montserrat Island Scholarship, which I just spoke about, but there's also the Georgia Rotary Student Program. And this scholarship is a part scholarship because it doesn't cover the entire duration of an undergraduate course. It's actually only for a year. So depending on how things go, you can get a Rotary Scholarship, which is the Georgia Rotary Student Scholarship. You could get that scholarship to cover you entirely for a year, and maybe you can apply for another scholarship to continue the other 2 to 3 years if necessary. And this scholarship is for schools in Georgia. So you have to go to Atlanta.
Did you find out how to apply to these?
To apply to this, you would have to do it through the Montserrat Rotary Club.
Okay, so it's through the Montserrat Rotary. But I haven't heard any deadlines. You see?
I did not actually find deadlines this
Okay,
time.
but at least we're
But I
stimulating
think-
our listeners.
I think what people can do if they're interested, I'm telling you how you get the scholarship. So you would have to go and find
Do your
the
research.
rest
Yes,
information.
yes. It's
Because
just-
when it comes to scholarships, there is not one book that you can read or one document that lists all the scholarships that are available. When you really want financing, you have to look for it. It's not going to come to you. And once you start looking, there are lots of opportunities that you can benefit from, but you cannot sit down with your hands folded.
And that's the important point you need to share.
Yes.
Can't sit still.
So there's also the DRV, Frank Edwards Memorial Scholarship. This is one that the Bank of Montserrat has put on,
Okay.
and it covers the 3-year undergraduate degree. However, this one is specific to banking and finance, accounting, business management, land economy and valuation surveying, and it covers you up to $200,000. So again, here we're seeing the variances with the different types of scholarships, because I mean, people are giving you their money and they have a right to be specific in what they want to spend their money on. So the Bank of Montserrat, I mean, it's a banking institution. You can see exactly why they would be interested in funding those type of courses.
Courses, yeah.
So don't be an environmental student and think that you're going to apply for the Bank of Montserrat scholarship,
Unless you're changing careers.
unless you're changing careers. Then there's also the Monroe University. Recently, I think Dr. Buffon spearheaded an initiative with the Monroe University where they were able to link with a diasporan person, a member of the diaspora from Montserrat, who actually works at the Monroe University. And they have made a way for persons from Montserrat to apply to the Monroe University and actually attend a campus in St. Lucia.
Yes.
They also are specific in what they offer, but they're a bit broader than what the Bank of Montserrat offers. So I've seen finance and business courses. I've seen environmental courses. They have the scholarship awards is up to $4,000 per semester. And with this course, it's important to note that it's an American university. So you would have to go through the rigors of an American application. So this is a bit different to our other Caribbean islands because to go to school in the US as a person from the Caribbean, you have to now have your SATs done. And I've known of students who would have gone to Barbados to sit this SAT examination. They also have something that is called the Common App, which they use. So in some schools, you're able to apply directly using the website. Through the American universities at the bachelor's level at least, or the undergraduate level, you have to use what is called the Common App. And to sidebar, this is the same in the UK, where you do not apply for bachelor's programs in the UK through the university itself. So although you have to visit the university website to get information on the courses, to find out what it is they're offering and the details, you have to use the UCAS website to apply. And then also when you're looking at American courses, you would obviously need to have the right to live in the US.
You have to do your visa.
Exactly.
The next one that I found was one of the things that I noticed, and I don't really call it a scholarship per se, and Mrs. Pantless, you can come in on this one, but I know of persons who would have been able to access training through their occupation. So, for example, they were able to come in at the airport, at the air traffic control, as a trainee, and through that they were then able to go off and study to become a qualified air traffic controller. And this is a specialized field, so I don't think the process is as run of the mill as a typical bachelor's program, but it's specialized program that would then contribute to you becoming a qualified professional in the field. And this is the same for certain things like the water technician at MUL, who would have gone off and done certification through the CWWA, which is the Caribbean Wastewater Association. So through, yes, you come out of school, you're interested in a field. Sometimes jumping directly to a website to apply to a university may not be the course of action for you. Because at the end of the day, everybody's path is not the same.
Very different.
True.
So
That's a very good point.
if you're able now to get an attachment, and through working in this field, you're then able to benefit from specialized training. And at the end of the day, they cover the same things as the university scholarship would, where you got your tuition paid, your living expenses, your airfare, your travel, all of that. So I included this in the list because in some ways it's similar to a scholarship in terms of what you get out of it.
I actually like that number of us, and it shows what the government of Montserrat has been doing over the years, looking at its workers and doing some bit of succession planning by sending persons inside to train.
Definitely. So a part of the scholarships that we're offering, it's not just the long-term academic, but we also have professional areas. So if a staff, for example, may want to do the CIPD training in HR, it may be a head of department who wants to do something in their technical field. As long as it falls on a priority area for government, then an opportunity is going to be provided there for them to apply. Outside of that, Deirdre, I think you're also speaking to the mandatory training offers that we have, where ministries will recommend
Yeah.
their staff to be trained in specific areas that they need to be trained in keeping with the law, in keeping with their practice. They have to keep up their
Exactly.
certificates, etc.
I think nursing
Those are
falls under this as well,
opportunity.
right?
And teachers.
Nursing comes under the academic area, and we also have because there are different levels of nursing. We also have it under the professional areas, also, right? So if you're not aiming as yet for the full degree program, or maybe you just want to be specialized, maybe as a theater nurse, that can come on the professional area, and it's right there actually if you check the website. And so you're going to just specialize in that area. You can apply to do that for a scholarship to do that under the professional options that we have there.
You said the website. Explain to the
Okay,
audience.
so yes, I need to mention it. So our website where you can access the application is odg.gov.ms, all lowercase, odg.gov.ms/scholarships. And you should be able to get into our website to submit your applications. Before you do that, you can go through, the list is there. It shows you all the areas that we have, so you can select which area you would want to apply for or to see that it's being offered, and then you fill your application.
Okay, so there are two more things that I found. Universities tend to offer bursaries and grants as well. These will be very, very competitive because a lot of persons would be applying for them. But it's an option that can be considered as well. And some of them are full scholarships and some would be part scholarships. Again, there's another opportunity. This is a bit different, but it depending on your determination. If you get a part scholarship, you can, even without a part scholarship, you can fund your own way.
Yes.
But I included this because it complements the part scholarships. You may wonder, how am I going to, if I'm only getting this, how am I going to pay for the rest of it? So there's the option of funding the remainder of whatever it is on your own, where you can then apply to the banks and you would be able to get student loans. But there's also the option of qualify. No, let me rephrase it.
But before you move on, though, I'm happy that you raised that point about getting part support and then investing in yourself, because that's one of the things that we're actually really, really pushing. We want people to see the value. So, okay, you may not have it to start, or you may not even be so motivated to start with yourself by investing in yourself. But we're saying do it at some point. So even if you get a bursary from us, even if you get a partial scholarship from us, then take the rest on your own. Invest in yourself to achieve your goals, your personal and professional goals. And at the end of the day, you feel so amazing that you did it.
Yeah. And then this option is also good if maybe you applied for a scholarship this year, but you didn't get through. But you really want to start your journey
now.
this year. There's the option of starting with a bank loan and still applying for scholarships here and there
Definitely.
to see where you can, if you get through with a scholarship next year, then you cut the bank loan and you continue on with the scholarship. So there's no one set way that you have to go for the entire duration of your course.
So it sounds therefore like everything is about planning, sitting down with your parents or your colleague, somebody who is your mentor, and making a plan about what you want for your future and how you get there, what are the steps towards it. Because I remember when my children were studying, I don't know if that's still the case, but if what is on your requirements for this year, if they're studying in an area where you have that requirement, you'll get a different bursary to if not.
I'm not sure if
okay. So like if let's do math because that's easy for me. So suppose you have math on your list as a requirement for the education department. I didn't get a scholarship. Somebody else got it. But because I want to do math, you give me a little higher amount than if I applied to you and math. I'm not trying to do math. I want to do physics.
Something else.
And so you give the person who's doing math a little higher because that's
It's a
that's
it's a
that's
demand.
a requirement
Okay.
for you. I don't know if that still
So
happens.
you're
but
talking about prioritization over who would actually get the scholarship?
no, somebody else got the scholarship, but because you are also interested in studying in that area, you get a little higher bursary.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that happened. I don't know if it still happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last one that I wanted to raise was studying in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
About 2-3 years ago. No, time moving fast. That was 2022, so we're looking at maybe about 4 years ago. Yeah. The UK changed their policies, and
Okay.
overseas territory students qualify for home fees. So before we were being treated as international students, and our degrees at the time costed a little bit more. By a little bit, I'm just saying a little bit because really and truly it's expensive. So it was a lot. But we're now being classed the same as a UK home citizen.
Well, that
Okay.
sounds good.
And you're able now to receive a loan up to £9,250 for your degree course. So based on your income and your living situation, you may also be able to qualify for a maintenance loan. And the maintenance loan then is what I was talking about earlier with your living expenses. So students who are able to get the tuition and the maintenance loan, they also qualify for a free laptop. So there are actually perks that come along with some of these scholarships. And the last one is that there are not a lot of bachelor's level or undergraduate level scholarships around. And you might find that persons, companies, they're more interested in funding master's courses because it's a shorter period. So the amount that they would have to put out, it would be less over time. But there are still scholarships available for undergraduate students. But I mean, you would just have to, prospective students would have to start doing research. And if you really want to be a student, research is a part of being a student. So starting before you get into it, to do your research and see what your options are, is not actually a bad thing. Because there are scholarships available for different groups, depending on whatever it is I'll call them investor, because they're investing in your future, they're investing in you as a person. The investors decide what they want to spend their money on.
Of course.
So they can decide that I'm going to sponsor 10 women to go to do an undergraduate program. And because you're a woman or because you're a female, you're able to apply for this scholarship.
Yes,
There are some that are focused just simply because you're from a developing country.
Yes.
So because of where we live, you're able to apply for them. There are some that are focused for men. There are some that are... So you just need to sit down, use the good internet, and find what your options are, because there are many out there once you start looking.
Definitely. We often hear of the Chieftain Scholarship, and you yourself is a recipient, right? How can prospective students benefit from this?
Well, the thing about the Chevening Scholarship is that it is a master's program. It doesn't fund a bachelor. So people who are coming out of college or MSS, they would not be able to qualify to apply for a Chevening Scholarship. As a matter of fact, Chevening actually, one of the qualifiers, they say that you must have been in the field that you want to study for at least 2 years.
Okay.
So it's more for maybe somebody who, I want to say mid-professional, or somebody who has already started working. Because I don't want to say mid, because then that might make it seem longer than the 2 years that they're requiring. But they would want you to have some kind of work experience before you apply to them.
All right. So do they do a doctorate?
No,
just
they
the
only do
masters?
master's level.
So that fits into what you said about earlier about many scholarships seem to be
So
giving you up to
they
the
would
master's level.
So for somebody to apply for this evening, they would have had to have completed a bachelor's program before. So if you're trying to do a master's program without a bachelor's component, you wouldn't qualify for a evening scholarship. You would need to have the 2 years working experience, and you would also need to be a resident or a citizen of one of the Commonwealth countries.
To be accepted.
And also, you must not have studied in the UK, funded by the UK government before. So it must be your first time.
Before?
It must be your first time being funded. So if you were studying in the UK before on your own money, that's okay. If you were studying in the UK, because the Chevening Scholarship has been funded by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, who is now FCDO because they joined with DFID. So in essence, that is the UK government. So basically what they're saying, if the UK government paid for you to come and do studies before, we're not paying for you to do it again.
Right. And so it's really to support us, the persons from the British territories.
I wouldn't say British territories because it's wider than the British.
It's wider than
Commonwealth.
Commonwealth. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds similar to the Commonwealth Scholarship that will come out later on this year. Also, very, very similar.
It is.
Yeah, so the criteria is there. If persons are interested in doing their master's degree, they can go on once it's open and look at the criteria and the areas that they're focusing on. And they can also apply for that.
Masters again?
Yes, master's degree.
Okay, so we're going to bite the bullet and try to support ourselves with the first degree, the undergraduate degree. If we don't get the scholarship, or if we get a part scholarship, we find the rest of the funds for ourselves. And then we have more opportunity after the first degree to get
a full master's.
To get our master's and a scholarship.
Yes.
Because we have the Chevening and so many others
Commonwealth.
and now
Many
Commonwealth.
others. Yes.
Sounds good. We got to say thank you to those governments and the persons like yourself.
Our
working and
government,
yourself.
yes.
Our government as well.
There's also many other European countries that offer scholarships to people from the Caribbean. So a lot of the times people tend to think, I want to say in a box. Because automatically when we think of going to study, the first place you might think about is the Caribbean. And when you go wider than the Caribbean, you say England, America, or Canada. But there are places like Switzerland and Germany that are offering courses free of cost. Full scholarships to people from the Caribbean. But we just need to be brave enough to take up these opportunities.
Yes. Trust in God. Have faith. Are there differences between what universities look for and what scholarships prioritize? Anybody?
Well, they can vary, but usually some of the things are principally guided. Like you must have your academic. If it's an academic program, you're expected to have your academic certificates. There may be a grade point you're expected to have in order to get. And as I said, it would vary from university to university. The higher up or higher tiered the university is, it's probably going to be a little bit more challenging to get in. Also, scholarships that are considered high tier, yes, very highly competitive, and so those the criteria is going to be a little bit more stringent.
Yes.
So it varies in that way, but generally it's principled across both of them. At least I have found it to be that way.
Yeah, there are similarities. However, you have to pay attention to what you're applying to. And what, like I was just explaining, some scholarships are based on certain criteria. You must be a resident of XYZ. You must have completed studies before. You must have whatever. So you would have to then look at the criteria of the scholarship that you're applying for, and then you would know whether you qualify for it or not. Whereas for a university, sometimes I don't want to say it's free for all, because they also would have their admission requirements. However, they would probably be more open to accepting students of a wider background or a wider larger numbers as well because you're paying them, versus
true.
a scholarship where it's competitive, it's limited, it's based on very, very specific criteria. So again, research, paying attention to what's listed, looking at your eligibility criteria, checking whether it matches up with what your skill set is, what your interests are, that kind of stuff is important.
And especially if it's a island scholarship, they obviously the person with the better grades would get it, as
Yes, that
opposed
might- that-
to
yeah.
both of us can get into a reasonable university. If it's a high tier university, the one with the better grades would get into that
Yeah,
one
certainly.
because you just
It's
by
highly
saying
competitive, yeah.
exactly, just by saying that I went to standard what's it standard Stanford University.
Stanford and Yale.
Yeah, just by saying that, I might get the job, you know.
Exactly.
So,
And that as well, there are some
Right.
universities that take their reputation very seriously.
Yes.
Because in the UK, for example, they actually have ranking tables, and some scholarships they would issue their funding based on the university that you're trying to apply to. So if they do not think or they do not regard your university highly, then it's likely that you won't make the cut. So
True.
it's
That's a good
important
point,
as well to look up the ranking or the rating of your university. And sometimes it's not even just about ranking overall, but depending on your field, ranking within that sector.
Okay.
So you need to look up those as well sometimes when you're doing your applications. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the quality of the education that you're getting as well is of a high standard.
And that's a very good point. So you're
Yeah.
not only looking at the overall accreditation of the university, but also your program within the university. You want to also ensure that your program is highly accredited within that university also.
I know I didn't tell you that I was going to ask this question, but I have to ask it. When do you think, it's just your opinion, when do you think we should start, or should we be telling our students this and when? Because there's a lot of information here, and I'm thinking that your knowledge is power here, and we are pushing for as many of us as possible, as many students as possible to be as educated as they can be. And one way is to get scholarships and to get into a university. Yeah. So when should we have this discussion?
Parents can have the discussion very early, but I think schools can begin maybe, for me, based on my experience, you begin at about grade 5, where the
primary.
child begins to think about what they want to be.
Grade 5 as in primary school?
Primary
Yeah, grade
school.
5 primary.
Well, when they get to secondary, then it becomes compulsory. But she's asking, when should we start? You know, when should they begin to start thinking about it? And I'm saying grade 5 in primary school. Begin to talk to them about what you want to be and where you can possibly go to study what you want to be, right? And so those are conversations that's why when we have the career pathway, it should begin at primary school. At the higher level, grade 5,
I think they already
you
You're
do
right.
grade 5 and
Yeah.
6 here?
Yeah,
they
we do
do
grade
it?
5 and
Yes,
6,
I
yeah.
think
yes.
they do that. And
So that's a
the
good
third
place
farmers
to
as well
start.
normally have the
Yes.
career day,
Yes, so
career week,
when-
career
Yes.
fair.
That's what happened today when I told you
Yes.
at MSS.
Right.
The students were
and
carried in.
that's very good. But even more than a career day, I think it needs to be built into the curriculum where we can give the guidance, like teach the students how to prepare their essays and so on. Once they get to maybe 4th or 5th form, it should be something that is done regularly so that it's in their mind. They're thinking about their succession plan of what am I doing after high school? What am I going to do? And it should not only be academic focused because we know all of our students
I
are
was
not
thinking
there.
that was going
are
to be my
not
next
there.
point.
You know, it may be TVET focused, so we want them to focus on the skill based or the technical areas as well. So if I don't want to do that academic thing, but what can I do to secure my future? I may want to become the next air condition
Right.
yeah,
Because
technical
all of
specialist.
these jobs, as we go into the future, they all start requiring certifications. And as
Definitely.
technology improves over the years, things are getting a bit more complicated where now you actually have to be doing classes to understand. Because who would have think that you need a computer to understand the car back in
Years ago.
1960, 1970? They would
Yeah.
have never thought that you would need a computer to understand the car. So even our hands-on types of jobs now, they do well with certification, whether it is a long course or a short course, they still do well with certification.
That's-
And one of the other things that I wanted to raise as well in
Yes.
preparation for advanced learning is your integration in youth clubs
Clubs.
and community
Yes.
groups, community organizations, because these help to show that you're a well-rounded person. Because
Yes.
the schools, they often look out for what type of extracurricular activities you're a part
Certainly.
of. And this kind of shows to them that you're able to balance. You're able to manage your school life with your regular life and not become too overwhelmed. It shows that you're able to manage different aspects of your life, and that you won't necessarily become a burden on the school or an embarrassment to the school.
Definitely. And I think the thrust now coming from the Ministry of Education also is that balance between civic cues and the academic
Yes,
stream.
I'm so happy to
Yeah.
see CPQs are coming on
Yeah.
stream, because our students are going to benefit so much from it. And you know that we have the different levels. The students can be certified from third form,
Yes.
grade 9.
Wherever we
Yes.
implement
So
the level 1.
yes, so level 1, and they can move through in the technical area all the way up to the master's degree, but in the technical area
Yes.
with CVQ. So I am very happy to see that Montserrat is taking that seriously, because our children will benefit, our young people will really benefit
Definitely.
from the technical skills in that area.
Well, an hour has gone, you know.
Oh boy.
So I'm going to ask you, each of you, to say something that you want to leave with the audience. Anything at all. Even
right.
if it's a repeat of something important.
I think the scholarships provide a wonderful opportunity. I'll say a very valuable opportunity to the people of Montserrat. I want to speak to somebody. Something is saying to me that there may be somebody, an older person maybe, who is hearing this program and may be afraid to go back to school, thinking of what other people will say. I just want to encourage that person to apply and to do your studies. You have many options. You can choose to do your studies virtually. If you don't want to go into the classroom, you can study from home,
Yeah.
right? You have that option also to do it, but just do it. You would feel satisfied in the end. So in closing, I want to say, again, it is a very valuable investment the government is making. I want to encourage the people of Montserrat to really get on board, to apply. Remember, it's a competitive process. So you want to put your best foot forward in terms of preparing adequately and applying, and ensure that you submit on time. And I wish you success in the process. Yes.
Okay, I would just like to say that there is free, quote unquote, money available for studying. And I think it would be a good opportunity. It would be a wasted opportunity if people do not take the time to do the research and find them, because these opportunities they are plentiful. So I would say dedicating the time to conduct your research on universities, on scholarship opportunities, what is available, how you are eligible. You should actually try and do it. And a lot of this doesn't happen by keeping quiet.
No.
You have to talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Ask questions, and in asking questions, things may come out that you never even thought of before. You might find people that are willing. As a matter of fact, I find that typically people are always willing to help once somebody is trying to better themselves.
Yes.
And as I will tell you a fun fact. I once asked a random person on a plane to review one of my applications because I was
Wow.
traveling at the time. The deadline was approaching. I was still working on my applications. And on the plane, the person next to me, I looked at that person and yes, I kind of profiled them and figured this is they look like a business person.
That's very brave.
I look like somebody. And I literally just said to this person, we're mid-air in flight, can't run go nowhere. I said, do you mind reading this for me and giving your opinion? Because at the end of the day, it's a stranger typically will read some of your applications. And if you can't get a stranger to want to read past the first sentence, then you need to go back and rework it. You don't want to rely, yes, Montserrat is small. You don't want to rely on, oh, the person didn't know me, so you're going to put in a good word for me. Show yourself. Put in exactly what separates yourself from the rest of them. If this is what you really want to do, you have to put the effort behind it.
Exactly.
Even if, and again, back to the small society that we're in, even if you think that the persons on the scholarship committee don't like you, make them like what you put on the paper.
Point.
When you have I think there's an interview component, you go in with the intention of selling yourself because you're looking at people just like you. They're not superficial, they're not God, they're people just like you. You go in bold, be brave, be honest, present yourself, show yourself in the best light possible, and hope for the best.
Be authentic. Yes.
And pray.
And pray.
Faith.
Yes.
Yes, and from me, I want to say, first, thank these two lovely young ladies, for coming and to be with me tonight in this, what I call a most important conversation. And of course, we are having this conversation tonight because the deadline for application is approaching. Is in a few days. So it's not late, although we would have wished that you, according to the conversation, have your everything ready already, so that if there's any error, it would have gone to HR and they'll be able to notice the error and send back. But this is about conversations taking place in families as early as possible. I think I agree with you. But I would go further to say as early as possible. The parents should be having conversations with their children about what's your passion, not necessarily what your future careers are going to be, but what are you passionate about? And support your children in developing their passion.
Yes.
And slowly but surely, if you continue that conversation with your child and the school does its part in ensuring that our students are also exposed. And now we have AI. You could have plugged your thing into AI for AI to read it through and give you back a comment. But now we have that. So if we do look at technology, have the conversations early, work with the school, be on time with everything we do, I see that we can be successful. We can find that free money and use it effectively to better Montserrat in the long run.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying good night to you from Embracing Quality Education, MSS. Actually, Montserrat.
Thank
Good
you for
night.
listening. Good night.
Thanks
Good
for having
night.
us. Bye-bye.
Bye.